What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Seeking Sister Wife, Season 5, Episode 4, Seeking the Truth. I am going to start with the couple that I love to start with, which is Garrick and Danielle, because it just tickles me pink to see how Garrick and Danielle are moving as a married couple. It is hilarious to me how they're playing each other and they think that it's just hilarious. Anyway, so let's get started. Danielle tells us that she's feeling very overwhelmed because things are moving kind of fast with Natalia, because we know that Garrick wants to propose to Natalia on this trip. So before they head back to the States, at some point, Garrick wants to propose to Natalia. So she thinks that they're moving too fast, and she's like feeling very apprehensive about this because she's still dealing with the hurt from Roberta, because she claims that, Roberta really hurt them when she had changed her mind about wanting to join their family as a second sister wife. She blames a lot on Roberta. I'm not buying it. I don't think it has anything to do, her apprehension, her fear, her sadness, or whatever that she's feeling right now about how fast her husband wants to be with Natalia and propose to Natalia. To me, it's got nothing to do with Roberta. It's got everything to do with Danielle and her jealousy. And she's so afraid to tell her husband exactly how she feels about all of this that she's just going to use Roberta as a scapegoat. I don't believe it has anything to do with Roberta, because frankly, I think she was happy when Roberta changed her mind and decided not to join their family. I think she was happy about that. So she doesn't know how to express herself, or she's too scared to express herself honestly. So she's going to use Roberta as the scapegoat. Natalia can sense that Danielle is having some kind of hesitation because Danielle doesn't try to hide it. I know, because she did this with Roberta. She has a way of, I think Danielle, unfortunately, has been, I don't know if she had to be a liar as a child, if lying was a way for her to cope with whatever was going on in her life as a child. But she's definitely using lying or being deceitful in her marriage. And she has a way of acting as if she really wants a second wife. And the way, and she acts like she does, but at the same time, she's sabotaging these relationships. She's sabotaging, whatever relationships that Garrick is trying to form with the potential sister wife. Because whenever she would try to tell Roberta or make Roberta feel like that, she was on board with this, plural family thing, she would lay it on so thick. So thick that I feel like anybody could see right through it. Garrick knows how Danielle is really feeling, but Garrick don't give a damn. So I think Roberta felt like Danielle really wasn't on board. And I think that Natalia can feel that Danielle is really not on board, because she lays it on so thick when she puts on this act of really wanting a sister wife. You can tell that she's being fake about it. So Natalia senses that Danielle is not being really upfront with her feelings. And so she wants to have a chance to talk to Danielle alone. Natalia asks her if she has any doubts about moving forward with Garrick and Natalia getting married and joining their family. And Danielle says that after what happened with Roberta, she is a bit hesitant. Natalia asks her if she's jealous because her and Garrick are falling for each other and they're getting closer and closer. And Danielle says that she's not jealous. She says that she's just really nervous and afraid because there's also kids to consider. Okay, there's also kids to consider. She's going to use that. She's going to use her children as an excuse. So Danielle wants to know, she's asking Natalia now, do you see yourself committing to this process for the rest of your life, like being a part of this family forever? And Natalia was like, she can definitely see herself committing to the family, committing to her and Garrick and the boys. She can definitely see herself staying with them forever. And she also tells her that she's falling in love with Garrick. And I was like, checkmate. What's your next move, Danielle? Checkmate. Not only is Natalia telling you that she sees herself as part of your family, she's telling you she's falling in love with your husband. Now what, Danielle? So As they're speaking of Garrick, he joins them. He comes in, he sneaks in or whatever. And because they're talking in private. So all of a sudden he materializes out of nowhere. And he's like, what y'all talking about? What's going on? And Natalia tells him that she's really concerned about moving forward with the process because Danielle says she's afraid. And at first Danielle denied it and was like, I never said that. I didn't say I was afraid, because now she's worried about, how Garrick is going to react. The fact that, she's trying to sabotage Garrick and Natalia's relationship. So when Natalia says, well, I don't know if I'm going to move forward because, your wife is saying that she's really afraid to move forward in this process. And so Garrick was like, what? You told her that? You told her you were afraid? And Danielle was like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say I was afraid. I never said that. Those words didn't come out of my mouth. I don't know what she's talking about. And Natalia was like, yes, you did. You did say that. You told me that you were afraid because of what happened with Roberta. So now that she's caught in a lie, because, she knows that for her to mention Roberta's name, Garrick is going to hear the ring of truth and what Natalia is saying, because Garrick probably knows, the issues that Danielle had with Roberta. So now she's caught in this lie. So she does admit to her husband that she did say she was afraid, but she said that her fear was coming from the fact that they were hurt by Roberta. Once again, girls, stop using Roberta as a scapegoat. You don't want to share your husband with another woman, but your husband is using God to justify his need to have another woman in this relationship and for you to accept it. And for whatever reason, you don't want to challenge that. You want to go with whatever he's saying. So Natalia wants to put a pause on everything until Danielle is better. So she actually tells Garrick, you know what? Let's not move forward with anything. Let's kind of stop right here until your wife begins to feel a little bit better about the process. So Garrick, I guess whenever he feels like he's backed in a corner, or whenever he feels like he's losing his potential second wife, he brings God into it, right? So he says, well, this is what God wants them to do. God wants them to move forward. And the fear that Danielle is feeling, that is not coming from God. God doesn't put fear on you. That is coming from the devil himself. So, you're letting the devil take over you, Danielle, by allowing this fear to manifest, because God would not want you to be afraid of this, because this is what God wants. And Natalia tells us in her confessional, she tells us, she's like, what? He keeps on talking about how this is what God wants for them. But why would God want Danielle to be so sad? Why would God want his own wife, Garrick's wife, to be sad if this is what he wants for them? Why is it making her sad? So Natalia tells Garrick that she wants to talk to Danielle alone. Garrick really doesn't like that because he's afraid of what Danielle is going to say to Natalia to make her even want to, put the brakes on this even more. So he gets up and he's like, I just don't know what's going on around here, because he's losing control of his women. So when they're alone, Natalia asked if Danielle if this is really what she wants, or if she's only doing this for Garrick. And I was like, come on, Natalia. Get into the bottom of this. Yes, ma'am. I'm so glad she asked that question, because that is the question of the hour. Do you really want this, or are you just going along with it because of your husband? And Danielle was like, no. I do. I really do want this. In fact, this was really all my idea for him to get a sister wife. This was really all my idea. And so, okay, what can Natalia say to that? And so she suggests that, so then she also uses the whole God thing. She's like, and I know that God has led us to this. So moving on from there, they're in the kitchen preparing dinner, and this whole app issue comes up. So Natalia, at some point off camera, had asked Garrick if she could use his phone for the translator. So when he gave up his phone to her, she noticed that he still had the dating app, or whatever dating app. I don't know. He had a dating app of him meeting potential additional wives. And so she had asked him about this, and he claimed that he wasn't active on that dating app. He claimed that, he can't see messages or can't send messages or something or other. He made up some excuse about how, it's on my phone, but I'm not active on the site anymore. I'm not really using it. And so he said that he's going to delete it. He's going to delete it because Natalia felt some kind of way of him wanting to meet other women, obviously. And so Danielle was like, when I asked you about it, you didn't delete it for me. You told me that you wanted to keep the app because we were going to add to our family. We were still going to expand our family, because I think he says he wants to have, did he say he wants, I don't know. He doesn't want to stop with Natalia. He wants to have more wives. So Danielle was like, well, you told me that you were keeping it because you were still trying to communicate with other women, because you still want to expand our family. And he denied it, I think. Did he deny it? I forgot if he denied it or not. But her point was, when I asked you to get rid of it, you didn't want to get rid of it because, whatever. Now that Natalia wants you to get rid of it, you're going to get rid of it right away. So that made Danielle feel some kind of way, that he listens to Natalia but doesn't listen to her. And she starts crying. And I'm like, oh Lord, here we go again. You can't have a sister wife season without Danielle breaking down and crying. So she starts crying because she says she's beginning to question her own relationship with Garrick. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Question this relationship that you have with your husband. Yes, ma'am. Stop the nonsense. Him constantly telling you this is what God wants for us, and girl, pump the brakes on all of that mess and really examine your relationship and what's really going on. If she really was the one that had suggested them getting another wife, she probably only did it because she saw something in her husband that made her think that it's better for us just to have an additional wife in the family than to let him do whatever the hell she thought he was doing, or what she saw him doing. Because a woman doesn't wake up out of nowhere and say, you know what? I'm going to give my husband permission to add another wife to our family. I'm going to allow another woman into my family to be around my children. I think that's a great idea. It doesn't come up out of nowhere. Something was going on in that marriage or with her husband that made her feel like, just like with the other couple, the black couple on the show, that made her feel like, you know what, I think it's better for him just to do this out in the open. And, you try to convince yourself that you're going to benefit as well, because you might have extra income in the house, someone to help you around the house, to help you with your kids, to help you, you're also going to benefit as well. So you're like, you know what, instead of him sneaking around behind my back, let me just go ahead and let him do it in front of my face, and I'm going to get something out of it as well. So yeah, question your relationship, Danielle, with your husband. Question it. Why did you want another sister wife? Why are you struggling with this? If this was your idea, why are you constantly struggling? Why are you sabotaging your husband's relationships with these other women if this is really, truly what you want to do? Let's move on now to, I want to talk about the Davis family. So the Davis family consists of Nick, April, Jennifer, and Danielle, okay? And Danielle was the last wife to be added so far, because they do want to add more wives. But she's the most recent wife to be added to this family, but she had left because she couldn't take the fact that they wanted to continue to add another wife after her. And the wife that they're going to add after her, she's going to be the one to marry that wife. Obviously Nick cannot have more than one legal wife, so he hasn't married any of them. They marry each other so that there can be some type of legality in their relationship. Very confusing. I think this man has brainwashed these women into doing this, because I am not understanding at all how this is. To me, it's just not making any sense. It's just not making any sense. At least marry the first wife, or at least marry the one that had your child. But no, he ain't marry none of them. They marry each other, and then they change their name to his, I think. They legally go about changing their names to his, I think. Okay. So Danielle is back, right? She came back. She left, was on her own for I don't know how long. She got an apartment. She got a lease. And then like the time frames, I need clarification on the time frames. How long was she gone? How long was her lease for? Is she going to break her lease? Is she going to keep, like, what's going on? So she's back now with the rest of the family. Even though she's back, it's still very awkward in the house, right? I feel like they really didn't want her to come back. Excuse me. I think one or more of them did not want her to come back. And that's why, because like, why would it be awkward? If she came back because she wanted to, and they really wanted her to come back, so why the hell is it awkward? So now she's back. They're having dinner, and they're asking her, look, why did you leave? What is really going on here? She got up, she walked away from the table because she got emotional. Then she came back. When she came back, they asked her again, like, what's really preventing you from accepting the fact that this family is going to grow? And all she can say is, well, I'm just really not down with that, and I'm not really comfortable with that. These really vague answers. I think the real reason is she feels like she's going to get lost in this family, because right now I think a lot of attention is given from Nick to April, because she's wife number one, and from Nick to Jennifer, because she's the young pretty one and the one that just had his baby. And I think she feels left out. Like, what is her role in this? She's not the young pretty one with the baby. She's not the first one, the main. So like, what is her role here? She's just like a movie extra. So I think that's the real reason. She feels like she's not getting enough attention. She doesn't really know her role or her place in this family. And I think she feels a little bit left out. So April tells her that she really did love Danielle, and she really did care for her, and that she can't imagine being in this family without Danielle. Which to me kind of sounds like she's going to butter her up, and then at some point she's going to give her the real deal Holyfield of how she really felt when she left. So being alone was really hard for Danielle. Yeah, it's hard to pay bills on your own when you don't have, two extra incomes. The two extra incomes being Jennifer and April. Yes, it is hard to go from a 3-income household to a 1-income household. I think that's really why she came back home, because she was like, you know what? This is for the birds. Paying bills by myself 100% is for the birds. I think that's why she came back. Truth be told, in my personal opinion. So she says that being alone was really hard. She really missed her family. She really loves her family. So that's why she came back to the Davis family. This is her first relationship. So it's not like she was dating a whole bunch before she met these people. This is her first real relationship. So it's kind of like, when you're dating a guy and y'all are really feeling each other and you're really getting along and everything is wonderful. And all of a sudden he tells you, I think I'm going to have another girlfriend, but I still want to keep you, but I want another girlfriend. I guess that's how she's feeling. If I'm going to compare it to like to the way how the rest of us would feel. I'm trying to like really understand Danielle. Maybe that's how she's feeling. Like, she's really feeling these people. She loves them. They love her, but they keep talking about adding another family in. Adding another wife in. So, Danielle and Nick, they go out together, just the two of them alone. And he says that he underestimated how hard this would be for Danielle, because it was so easy for April and Jennifer to transition into a plural family. So they loved it. They liked it. It wasn't hard for them at all. But for Danielle, he just thought that she was going to slide right on in and be acclimated really quickly. So he didn't realize that she could be struggling with this. So now he's beginning to understand her a little bit better. And he also tells her that Danielle leaving was really hard for April, which is making me wonder why. Why was it harder for April than for anybody else? But anyways, he said that Danielle leaving was really hard for April, and that April wants to have a one-on-one conversation with her at some point about her leaving. Now, she still has her lease for her apartment. So Nick is trying to figure out, okay, are you back for good? Are you back and then you might leave again? Like, what is really going on? So he wants to get to the bottom of that. So maybe with the next episode, we'll get more answers with that, as far as like, why is she still keeping this other lease if she claims that she missed them and now she's back. Moving on to Ashley and Shane. So Ashley broke up with Grace because Grace was not feeling Shane. Shane was not feeling Grace. So Ashley broke up with her. Now she's meeting another woman, Sarah. Y'all, like I said before, sweetheart. Like, it's just, and this is the couple where it is Ashley, the wife, who is seeking a sister wife, not her husband. It is the wife that wants another woman for herself, not for her husband, for herself. She wants her own wife. And so she's pregnant, 6 months. She has a toddler. And I'm just trying to figure out, girl, how do you have time to be dating like this if you're expecting a baby and you have a baby already. Like, how do you, like, why is this a priority for you right now? Do you just want to have a woman in place so that when the baby's born, you can already have the extra help with your toddler and the new baby? Or are you just that, like, determined to have a girlfriend that you don't care if you're pregnant, or like, I don't understand. So she's meeting Sarah at the park. Sarah is an attractive young lady. She has an 8-year-old son. She's used to being in a plural type of situation. You know, she's dated couples before. She's bisexual, but she does prefer men more than women, but she's, you know, open-minded to dating a woman. And they get along. Okay, their first meeting together, they get along really well. They have a lot in common. Sarah even brought her lunch. And so Sarah says that the most attractive thing that she finds in someone is their kindness. If a person is kind, that is what really gets her going. So I'm thinking to myself, then you're not going to like Shane, because Shane to me is not kind at all. He's very rude. He's abrasive. I don't think he's kind, but we'll see how that works out. She said that she is open to meeting Shane, as opposed to Grace, who was not open to meeting Shane right away. But Sarah says that she cannot wait to meet Shane. So at the end of their meeting, when they're going their separate ways, they give each other a hug, but Ashley asked her for a kiss. So Ashley is really feeling Sarah, and I think, you know, the feeling's mutual. So when she goes home, she tells her husband all about it, how good the meeting went. Shane is happy that it went so well. He's even happier knowing that Sarah wants to meet him, is looking forward to meeting him, because Grace wasn't. So Shane's excited about that. Ashley tells him about the kiss that she asked for, and Shane was okay with that, because, you know, that means that there's chemistry between them, which is good. He's okay with that. As much as he's okay with all of this, he does tell us in his confessional that if he feels like Sarah is going to be pulling Ashley away from him, he's going to express his thoughts. He's going to express his feelings. He's going to let them know exactly how he feels about that, because he's not going to like it. I'm so confused about this couple, because number one, I thought they had said that this new potential sister wife had to be good with Shane, because they're supposed to have a baby together as well. But then that kind of is not mentioned anymore. So I don't know if that's still a priority for them or not. Another thing, as much as he talks about how, you know, he's okay with his wife having a wife or girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, he has this fear of this woman, whoever she may be, taking his wife away from him. So it's like, is this another Danielle? Are you like the male version of a Danielle, where in front of your wife's face, you're all gung-ho about it and you're so happy for her and you're like down with this, but then in secret, you're really hating it because you think that you're going to be losing your wife? So I'm very confused about Shane, as much as I am about everything else. Moving on to the Ryan family. So this is Becky and Justin. We just met them last week. They've been together for eons. They got married when she was 16. He was 19. They have 5 kids together, I think. And they're interested in having a plural family. Now, they already have a potential sister wife, but she's wishy-washy. We haven't met her. We haven't seen her. Whenever they show pictures of her, her face is blurred. She's very wishy-washy. One minute she's down, she's in. The next minute she doesn't want to do it anymore. So they need somebody very consistent, and they want to find someone like her. Her name is Stephanie. They want to find someone like Stephanie because they really like her. They talk about how great she is, but she's letting outside influences influence her decision, her final decision on whether or not she wants to be with them. They want a Stephanie without the Stephanie indecisiveness. So they were supposed to meet Desiree. Desiree is someone that we saw last week that they had met at a bar. Both Becky and Justin went to this bar to scope out a potential sister wife. Becky does all the work. She's the one that, finds the woman for her husband. So when they were at the bar, she found this woman named Desiree. She approached Desiree, asked Desiree if she wanted to date her husband. Desiree was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And so she explains herself a little bit more. And at first, Desiree was like, "No, I'm not really interested. I have a kid. I have a lot on my plate. I just got through a divorce. Thanks, but no thanks." feelings. But then when Justin came to meet Desiree, all of a sudden she was kind of like open about it. She was like willing to listen to more. And so when they asked her if she was willing to see them again, she said yes. But I guess the way she said yes was kind of like she was just trying to be polite. You know, like she probably really wasn't feeling it, but she doesn't want to say no or to hurt their feelings. So they were supposed to meet up. They arrived at the coffee shop where they were supposed to meet at, and she didn't show up. She texted Justin, said, thanks, but no thanks. This is just not for me, but I wish y'all all the luck in finding your potential sister wife. So they go home completely bummed out because they really liked her. Justin thought that she was really beautiful. And so, yeah, it didn't work out. And so Justin says something like, here we go again, where we have someone who we like. They give us the impression that they really like us, but then it just doesn't work out at the end. And that's where their segment ended. So on to the next. Your girl is going to be on the prowl again for a potential wife for her husband. Thank you so much for joining me, y'all. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.